You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so why try to build a business without one? Grow your contracting business and grow your mind with Growth Mindset Monday.
All right. Happy Labor Day to all you laborers, myself and Justin included. Happy Labor Day. It's a beautiful day across this wonderful nation of ours. Go America. Go Team America. Is that a thing? I don't know. We just made it a thing now. Happy Monday to you if you're here. I know you're probably working, or maybe you're getting ready to throw some dogs on the grill. Maybe you're swimming in your banana hammock. Probably too much information for us to know. But either way, we're excited that you're here with us. We got a couple guys who've already checked in. We got Daniel from Noble Custom Glass and Mirror. You are correct. We get an extra day for growth planning. Thank you for that. We got Irving from Irving Corporation from Richmond, Texas. Good morning / afternoon. You guys know the drill. If you're here live with us, go ahead and drop your name, your business name, where you're from, so we can give you a shout out. Man, this has been such a crazy, cool, fun, exciting, busy, hectic, stressful week and in our neck of the woods. And I'll share a couple of those things with you. But today's going to run a little different. And I'm excited to share with you guys how that's going to go as well. But to kind of fill you in, last week I talked a little bit about our marketing workshop that we hosted here in Salt Lake. We had 35 contractors in the room representing all kinds of different trades and businesses, everything from builders to remodelers, landscapers, concrete, roofing, electrical, plumbing, and across the board. And it was really cool to have a conversation with these guys and gals in the room for 4 hours. And here's the crazy, exciting, fun, sobering part. At the end of 4 hours talking about marketing, we had just scratched the surface. You see, because we like to think of these concepts like sales and marketing and running teams and, policies and procedures as this really simple thing that you do it once and you forget it. But it is such a busy and involved process that you have to stay on top of it, right? In fact, we had people in the room that had done some outbound marketing, paid for leads. We had people that were using Angie's List and Thumbtack. We had people who were doing Facebook ads and Google ads and pay-per-click, all kinds of different things. And it's not that one was better than the other, but there were some questions underneath it all that we needed to answer before we could ever get to that point, right? Today, what I want to help you guys do is listen to a conversation that we're going to have live here and understand what is it that actually leads to success inside a business. We spend a lot of time talking about marketing. We talk about, sales. We talk about teams sometimes. But ultimately, I want you to understand what it takes to succeed. Now, as a business, we've worked with now a few hundred. I know in probably about 6 months to a year, we'll hit that 1,000 mark of contractors that we've worked with across the country in all kinds of different trades. And we see the same things every single time, right? It's a lack of understanding and execution of the fundamentals. Let me repeat that. It's a lack of understanding and execution of the fundamentals that either leads to or keeps people from success. And so today, I really want you to understand what success could look like for you in seeing the conversation that we have with someone who took something that really was just kind of getting by to success. Now, before we do, we've got a couple of shout outs that Justin already threw on the screen. Michael Babbitt, BMF Services, Charlevoix, Michigan. And then we got Matamoros Construction, who, with my broken Spanish, is looking to get more clients, 10 years of experience. Well, congratulations, you're in the right place. So today we have a special guest. Yeah, you've seen him before, but let's be real. He's special. He's got a special place in my heart. We got Justin Smith, who's going to join us, and not actually talking about Contractor Plus. Although if you're not on Contractor Plus, you should be. And if you're not leveraging it, guess what? You can book a call and figure out how to do that. But I really wanted to bring Justin on today because, believe it or not, Justin has experience as a contractor, and not just as a contractor who's just getting by, but as a contractor who has scaled a handyman business. And we're going to talk about that. So without further ado, let's bring Justin Smith onto the stage with us.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day. We're glad you're here with us. So Justin, I want to get right into it. A lot of these guys don't know that you were a contractor before you created Contractor Plus. So kind of talk me through that. How did that happen? How did you become a contractor?
Well, so, I've been in or around the trades my whole life. My mother's a contractor in South Central Ohio. She does bathroom, kitchen remodels, painting jobs, drywall jobs, everything from, small jobs like that to complete home builds. So I've been around it my whole life. Wasn't really what I saw myself getting into. I've always had an affinity for tech, and, I started building computers at a young age and writing code and building websites and stuff like that. But in the summers, to make money, that was how I earned, was to work with her, painting drywall and painting and stuff like that.
So you grew up like most contractors do, right? They grew up in a trade. They grew up, with a shovel in their hand or a hammer or a drill.
Yep. So, I guess when you're around it, it just becomes second nature. It's not what I aspired to do, but just through coincidence and circumstance, one thing led to another. Interesting enough, went to school for business and joined a real estate and property management company, building websites, ended up in operations. And that's where I decided to start a service business. We mounted a GC license with our firm. For certain things, you have to be able to pull permits, but I wasn't a licensed contractor myself. But basically, I saw a need. We looked at how much money was being spent on maintenance every year. Everything from, when you close on a property, especially like a foreclosure or a short sale, there's usually quite a bit of work to be done in the make ready or the unit turn, whatever you call it, before you can get it rental ready. So, or ready for a, primary occupant or whatever. And for the most part, because we were a property management company, we were representing real estate investors that were buying properties from our or through our brokerage that would then, we would get it under contract to manage the property 10%. And then we would also sub out all the maintenance, everything from carpet cleanings to replacements to painting. And there's like the refresh or the turn when a tenant moves out, there's usually some work to be done to get it ready for the next tenant as well. So we were subbing all that out. So when I looked, it was really just about the numbers. If the math makes sense, do it. If it doesn't, don't. And worked with our bookkeeper and just looked at how much money we were spending. And it was a couple $1 million a year that we were subbing out, from everything from the turns to just the general work orders and maintenance requests. So there's a tremendous opportunity there to bring all that in-house. And I started, getting my ducks in a row and realized that it could potentially be the biggest, earner or highest grossing division of that entire business. So I started a handyman business.
So you saw the opportunity, and I want you guys to pay attention, right? He's not telling you to quit your business and go start, go hook up with a property management company. Like, that's not what this conversation is about. But I want you to see the mindset and why he made the decisions that he made. This is what's so important for you right now. Okay. Why did Justin make the decisions that he made? So you saw a need, you saw an opportunity, and you decided to take advantage of it, right? Okay. what happened next?
So we hired a couple guys that we were subbing stuff out to. We hired them as, to get started, and brought them in-house, paid them a nice salary. One of them I made our foreman, who did all of our estimation, and basically his core responsibilities was do the estimates and then go behind and do the post inspections after the work's been completed. So, and occasionally, if you have any free time, drop in on a crew and make sure everything, there's no shenanigans going on at a job site. Started hiring, we started with the highest earning things for, where were we spending the most money? And we looked at carpet cleanings was a good example. We were spending $100,000 a year on carpet cleanings. So we decided to look for a used carpet cleaning van that had everything that we needed in it. And we bought one, wrapped it, brought it all in-house, and then we hired 2 guys that would go around and clean carpets. So we started there, and then we just started hiring more and more, filling more and more positions. And we grew that to around 30 guys.
Now, a couple things inside of that, right? So you got a lot of contractors right now who are, would like to refer to as chucking a truck, right? It's them and their truck, or they've got their, brother-in-law or their cousin or somebody working with them, and they're trying to figure out what scale looks like. So I want to dive a little deeper into this conversation of opportunity, right? As a contractor, you're really good at, again, swinging a hammer, using a drill, digging a hole, whatever it is. But what was it that made you confident that you could take advantage of that opportunity in front of you? Because a lot of these guys see that there might be an opportunity, but they don't know either how to take advantage of it. They're not confident that they could.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, I realized how simple 90% of the work that we were actually doing or subbing out was super simple work. Painting jobs, fixing a hole in the wall, a leaking pipe, recocking the bathtubs, changing the doors, replacing the door stops, even replacing carpets. It's all simple stuff, surface level stuff. But if, when you're subbing that stuff out, you're paying $100 an hour, or whatever it comes out to. So why not hire internally and pay $30 an hour and then keep all that margin for ourselves? So for me, again, it was just about the numbers. And I looked at it, and it just made sense. We can hire and train on how to perform these specific tasks. And as long as we're willing to pay, above market rate salaries to be able to retain the talent that we've invested in training, then retention's not going to be a problem either. And we really didn't lose anyone for 4 years. We had a solid team that we were able to retain. So for me, it was really just about, is this something realistically that we can bring in-house and that we can train and, other people on how we expect it to be done?
Yeah. You bring up 2 really good points there. Okay. The first one that I want you guys to pay attention to is when Justin talks about the opportunity, right? Now, you guys are not going to have the same opportunity, right? You're not looking to bring stuff in-house necessarily. Maybe some of you are, but most of you are not. Okay. Now, I want you to think right now, though, is what is the opportunity in front of you? So Justin happened to work for his potential client, right? And he saw the opportunity as far as cost savings. Okay. But for some clients, it's not just about cost savings. For some people, it's about time. For some people, it's about quality, right? What's the thing that they're willing to pay for? So when we talk about marketing, you market to a particular individual or a business a solution to a problem. The problem that you saw was what? That you were paying all of these different people to do a thing that you could have done cheaper and probably for better quality, right? So that's why you brought it in-house. So when you guys are marketing yourselves, and Dan, you got some questions we'll get to here in a minute. You guys are marketing yourself, or you guys are marketing yourself to your potential clients as, oh, we do paint, or we do landscaping, or we do roofing, or we do electrical, or whatever it is that you do. How is that going to help me as a person who has a problem find a solution? I don't care. And don't take this the wrong way, but people don't care. We've got this office that we are going to start remodeling tomorrow. We just picked it up, 3,000 square feet. We're remodeling some of the offices, new flooring, new paint. Like we got a lot of things happening. And I'll tell you that it is cheaper for me to go do it myself. 100%, hands down, it's cheaper. I can also tell you that it's going to cost me more time, and it's going to cost me more frustration, and it's going to cost me more material. It's going to cost me more technically than dollar-wise I would save trying to do it myself, right? Why do I tell you that? I tell you that because this weekend, my wife and I drove around and we were looking for carpet tiles, right? And I put it on social media, and I had, 25 different people respond for companies that could help me out. But the problem is none of those companies could show me carpet tiles that I wanted to put in my room or my office. And so we drove to this, literally driving down this road, and there's this one place, I can't remember the name of the place, something carpet and whatever, flooring. And we go in, and the guy, I have his card upstairs. The guy was super nice. He's like, how can I help you guys? Hey, this is what we're looking for. This is this. Awesome. Why? He asked me why. I was like, nobody asked me why. Well, here's why. Oh, great. Listen, here are your options. And he presented the options in front of me and said, you can do A, you can do B. Here's the cost difference between the two. Here's the difference with quality and install and everything. Which one would work better for you? I know you have a timeline of 30 days. I know you have this. I know you have that. And he guided me down this path of like, dude, we signed up with the guy right there. Literally right there. Yep. They're coming tomorrow to measure, right? Here's how much he's going to charge for the materials. Here's how much he's going to charge for install. Boom. We're out the in and out. I don't have to think about it, right? Put yourself in my shoes as a consumer looking for a solution to a problem. That's what you have to get better at doing, right? So that's the first thing. I want to get to some of these questions, and then I want to bounce back to the second thing when we start talking about building a team, right? And the strategy that Justin had behind that. So let's go into a couple questions that Daniel had, for example. He says, what went into the growth strategy? I'm sketching down a 2 to 20 million growth strategy at 30% yearly increase to get there in 10 years, roughly. A lot of big words and great concepts, Daniel, inside of there. I'm going to keep this super high level, Daniel, because a lot of people in this conversation are not at the level that you're at, and that's okay. But if you want to go into deeper details, we can schedule some time to talk about this. We geek out on this stuff all the time. So I want to ask Justin specifically then, what went into your growth strategy? Like, how did you decide or determine on how you were going to grow your handyman business?
So for us, I guess we had it a little bit easier because we already had, my first client was a company I already worked for. So I knew how much work or what volume of work we were going to have on our calendar immediately once I started the company. So I knew exactly how many positions I needed to fill, both revenue producing and non-revenue producing. I knew exactly what the growth trajectory looked like, assuming we didn't bring on any additional clients. But then, once you have the repeatable processes and how I knew what was working and what, how I got that account, it's very easy to offer the same services to other property management companies, to other realtors, to other people who need the same level of service. So for us, it was, I wasn't as concerned at like getting from $2 to $20 million. We got started. The goal was to start bringing people in-house when it's revenue wise to do it internally versus subbing it out. If it was something where we could make 30% margins and do it internally, then we would find a way to do that. Certain things, though, we didn't do enough of, like cleaning, for example. It took us a long time before we hired 2 dedicated cleaners. It just made sense to pay the cleaning company a couple $100 to go out and spray everything down with Simple Green and be done with it. We ended up hiring cleaners too, but that's really how I looked at who should I be hiring at what time. It's all based on how much are we spending on this specific thing.
Yeah. And that's a great way to look at it, right? So you scale, and you said in 4 years, you got to 4 million.
Yeah, just shy of 4 million.
Just shy of 4 million, right? 4 years, 4 million. Now, how many of you guys on this call would love to have a $4 million a year company? How many? Right? Like all of you, unless you're over 4 million. At this last week I had conversations with quite a few different businesses, and one of them was an electrical business. It's doing about 3 million. And I will tell you right now that the concept that we talk about all day long, every day, is it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. Okay. And I'm going to drive that thing home to you, because I don't care if you're generating $10 million in revenue, if you're bringing home 250,000 a year. Why not just make 500 a year and bring home 250 a year? Whole lot less headaches, right? So it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. And so when we talk about your business structure, when we talk about how you organize things, when we talk about when to hire somebody and when not to hire somebody, you have to have your numbers dialed in. Now, Justin, talk about that a little bit more, because for you, slightly different, but also the same, you were looking at margins, right? And when does it make sense to bring something in-house, because ultimately it'll help increase our margins? And what was the determining factor for you when you brought something in-house?
The determining factor is, are we going to make more money as a business by bringing it in-house than if we were subbing it out? So of course we're always shooting for that 30% margin, but really it's just about profitability. If we know that we're going to spend more by subbing it out, then we're going to bring it in-house. Because then we're the ones billing $100 an hour, and we're not getting billed $100 an hour. And usually, I would pair everybody in teams of 2 for accountability. So never sent guys out by themselves. Very rarely would I send someone out by themselves, even for a small work order. I would dispatch 5:30 in the morning. We all meet at the office. I dispatch all the work orders first. They go out and do the work orders. When they're done with the work orders, then they go to their unit turns. So that's their jobs that take multiple days or a week or whatever. But get the tenants taken care of first, so the property management companies, our clients, are happy, and then go out to the jobs.
Wow. That's good. Good.
But even with, so then, we're paying $16 an hour at that time. Today, that would be more like 25. And of course we paid the foreman a lot better. But he's better at estimating, and also he's loyal to the company. So if there's riffraff happening, guys smoking pot or doing something stupid at a job site, we're going to hear about it. You have to have someone that you really got to be able to trust their estimation skills. They got to be pretty on point. Otherwise it could end up costing the company a lot of money. But that's even, that's a process you can define as well. How much you're marking everything up. You're not just sending it off straight from the field. So it's getting typed up. You're reviewing it in QuickBooks or whatever you're using now, Contractor Plus, hopefully. So you make sure you're not going to lose money on the jobs. And that's interesting enough. That's how we came up with the idea to make Contractor Plus. I realized the biggest thing as a small business, business owner or contractor can do to grow their business is win more bids. If you're sending, 5 bids a week, but you're only closing one of those, then your close rate is 20%. And I think a lot of contractors are satisfied with a 20% close rate, but there's a direct correlation between the level of detail or the number of line items and the bid win rate. In our case, we didn't lose bids. I don't think we ever lost a bid. I mean, our clients were already our clients through the property management company, but the reason we never lost a bid, in property management, you're mostly managing properties for real estate investors who own more than one property. If they only own one or even a few properties, usually it doesn't make sense for them to pay 10% to have someone else manage them. Sometimes, but usually not. So in our case, we're dealing with properties for, REIs that are all over the world, and most of these guys never step foot inside of their properties. So it's really important for that audience that they can trust the contractors that are in their properties, and they can trust that what we say needs done actually needs done, and that we are doing it up to their expected quality standards. And that's where the whole idea for the post inspection came in. When we started, we were preparing our estimates in QuickBooks. Well, so my foreman, he would go out and he would write how long the task is going to take in the left column. And then he'd break it down area by area, like foyer, living room, master bed, master bath, whatever. He would go through, and each task that needed done, he would write it out. And then he would guesstimate the materials that are required to complete that task for each task. And then he would bring that to me, and that's all the base costs. And either myself or our bookkeeper would type it all up in QuickBooks, add our markup, and also mark up the materials, and then send it off. We would take the photos off of a digital, like a digital camera, an SD card, zip them, attach the PDF from QuickBooks with a zip file, and send it off to the investor, and we'd wait for their approval. And they would just respond, usually one word, approved. But that whole process took, we were doing easily 30 estimates a week. So we're easily investing the amount of time he's spending. And that's a full-time job completing those estimates. And then it's also a full-time job typing it all up. So that double data entry was the primary motivation for creating Contractor Plus, because it saved us 30 hours a week.
Hold on. Pause real quick. What you just said right there, okay? Are you guys paying attention? So he talks about the process, which, by the way, I know a lot of you guys right now who are watching and listening are still doing this, writing stuff down on a piece of paper or in the notes section of your phone, and then going home and transcribing something into either a Word document or QuickBooks or some kind of variation of something, guesstimating how much it's going to cost and how much time it's going to take, and then sending it off for approval. And here's the crazy part, right? And this is why we're bringing it full circle here. Why was Contractor Plus created? Was it for the big guy, right? The guy doing $100 million a year? No, it wasn't. It was created for the contractor just like you. The one who's looking for a way to become more efficient, because I want you guys to understand this. The more efficient you are, the more profitable you are. And Justin said, just by creating Contractor Plus, how many hours a week did it save you?
If you're using it right, it saves you a lot. So we put together this chart. And this chart,
baby.
So this chart articulates the value in itemization. Now, I get it. A lot of contractors don't want to provide a whole lot of detail on their estimates. And usually they say the reason for that is because then your clients will nitpick over every little thing. I want you to do this, but I don't want you to do that. And, there's ways around that. Like, you don't have to put a price on every line item. You could put a price per group or a price at the bottom, but the level of detail, basically what this chart shows, and this is analyzing the data in Contractor Plus, by the way. So there is right around a 10% bid approval rate. So on the horizontal axis, that's the number of line items on an estimate. So you can see the lower, most people, surprisingly, or maybe not, only send one or two line item estimates. Usually they'll just say kitchen remodel, $25,000 and send it off. Or they'll say labor, materials, and so they're, and the reason for that, well, there's multiple reasons. So one is you don't want your client nitpicking, or two, you just don't have the time. You don't have the time to sit down and add 100 line items to an estimate. But the data shows that when you take the time to build out a fully itemized estimate and actually list out the line items, your bid rate goes all the way up to 60%.
Your bid approval rate.
You're
closing more jobs.
Way more jobs. 3 times more, at least. In our case, it was even higher than that. So I wanted to share that chart because we're analyzing the data, because we're building AI. We're doing things that can help expedite the estimation process. Because just imagine, as a small business, you really don't have time. If you're already managing if you're the sole estimator for your company and you're trying to get your business to a couple $1 million a year, you're on job sites. You don't have time to be spending 3 hours to put together a fully itemized estimate like that. And very few contractors actually do, especially when you're in the starting stages of a business. But if you could, and if you had that time to invest, then you would win more bids. So
beautiful. Like, guys, understand this. Like, the data shows. And by the way, this is data that came from Contractor Plus. They didn't go like find it somewhere else on the internet, right? Ask Google or ask ChatGPT.
This is your data. This is analyzed of all of our users,
right? So why are we saying this, right? So we talked about why it is that the business was created in the first place, right? It's to solve a problem. You solve a problem, right? But if you want to build your business bigger, you have to solve more problems for more people. In order to solve more problems for more people, you have to get in front of more people. And then you have to be able to deliver an estimate in some timely manner to do that. A lot of you guys are at capacity right now. Some of you guys at 100,000, 250, 500, 750, but you're at capacity, meaning that you don't have any more time to market because you're doing jobs. You don't have any more time to do jobs because you're managing people. You don't have any more time to manage people because you're marketing. And it's just this cycle that you can't seem to get through. Okay. So understand why Contractor Plus exists. It's to give you more time and to help you close more deals, right? Imagine right now, if just by leveraging Contractor Plus, you were able to close 3 times more deals. What would your business look like?
By fully utilizing it. So the first thing that a lot of people don't invest the time into doing, and I highly recommend you do it. If you haven't done it yet, go do it. Set up your line item templates. When you add your line item templates, when you're sending out an estimate, you can quickly add things that you bid on commonly. It works kind of like a cost book. You can even number it in the template if it helps you identify what you need to add to the estimate. So you can search for those numbers or however you want to do it. So add the templates. Now, we are also analyzing, our users have added a collective 6 million line item templates. So wow. we're trying to make sense of, there's 20 different ways to bid on fix hole in wall, for example. So we're trying to standardize this in a way that makes sense. And usually it's going to boil down to the square foot, or the linear foot, and we'll have it by the hour as well, so that you can say, hey, I do plumbing. Okay, so we can preload all the plumbing templates into your account. So we're working on that right now. Something else we're working on with our back-end rewrite, which is underway right now. We're like 70% done. Should be coming into this month, early next month. We're also shipping Estimates V2, which adds optional line items. It adds permits where we get
that answers the question right here. Right? If you get people that nitpick your items, put on your estimate sheet, then gives you the best answer. The customer always try to get the cheapest possible. Basically, what we're saying is, if you give them more information, are they going to want it cheaper? Well, not if you give them the information the right way. So talk about this new update with Contractor Plus.
Yeah. So the new update, there's a lot to it. Like, we've completely revamped our schedule. We've completely revamped the estimates module. We're adding optional line items, optional groups. We're adding an AI assistant that writes your line item descriptions for you. We're adding different line item types. You can add multiple line items to a group, and you can save groups as templates as well. So you can instantly load your groups with pre-configured options in them. And then you can choose, do I want to allow my customer to select just one of these options or multiple? That would dictate whether or not it lets them choose one or multiple. You can even have a preferred item that you can have pre-selected. And what's really cool is, as your customer selects these inputs, it populates the total at the bottom. So just like the data showing, the more detail you give your customers translates to a higher bid approval rate, much higher. Also, the more flexibility and the more customer input you can give is also going to directly translate to a higher bid approval rate. So customers love to have an input, and they love to be able to visually see, what options do they want, and to be able to dynamically select that and hit approve. It's something it's irresistible, because how many other contractors are actually going the extra mile and sending them something like that?
Yeah. Think about it. Like when you go to like a Subway or a McDonald's or a Chipotle, like how do you order? They ask you, what kind of meat do you want? Option 1, 2, or 3. You pick one. What about beans? What about rice? What about this? And you end up with the exact thing that you wanted, right? So now Contractor Plus is going to give you the option to do that for your customers and your clients. I mean, it is powerful.
I want to address this. Daniel, you asked this question here. Did we sell a business at some point? Of course. So that's the whole point of growing a business. So the process, oh man. So most service businesses probably can't even be sold because you're essentially just selling, they never define their processes. They never get the SOPs in place. The first thing is everything you do as the owner or the admin, all the admin tasks have to be defined into processes. You can use Google Drive, like don't overcomplicate this. You can define it all in Google Drive, build a hierarchy in folders for different areas of the business, and just create a separate file for everything so that it's easily searchable. There's also tools like Drywall that would be really cool. I think there's a cost to it, but it would be really cool to be able to make it a little bit more interactive and comprehensive. And then make sure the people are trained on those processes thoroughly so they don't need a lot of micromanaging. Before you can sell a business, those things have to be completed. There's no option. Now, books. So it's not just about the books. Of course, your books, if you're going to sell a company, your books and your tax returns have to be in alignment, and it has to make sense. Where I think a lot of people go wrong when they go to sell a business, they're trying to ask what they know the business is worth, but they can't get that because whoever's acquiring the business is trying to leverage an SBA 7A or whatever, and the SBA isn't going to finance the deal. You won't be able to get a lender to touch it if their tax returns paint a different picture. Mm-hmm. So then what are their options? To go back and refile? That's not going to happen. Or they could do some kind of seller financing. That's a tough thing to negotiate, but it can be done. It's good when you can do that. But usually there's an inconsistency, and that's assuming they have the processes mapped out and it's something that is easily transferable. I love when sellers have some skin in the game. Over the first 6 months to a year, the transitioning period, they're still very active in the business and they're there to make sure that there is a smooth transition. So we sold to another property management company that we service the properties for. And, at some point, so back to the finances and the books. So your books and your tax returns being in alignment is one piece of the puzzle, but you need to have third-party audits. So annual financials every year, get them audited by a third party. It doesn't need to be one of the big 10, but it does need to be a third-party unbiased auditing firm. And you want those on file. So those are the basics for that.
Yeah, great answers there. And I want to simplify what Justin just said, right? He got really granular into some things there. Here's what you need to know. And Daniel, again, we need to connect offline because this is literally what we do on a daily basis with our clients. But here's what you need to understand.
Sorry to interrupt, but E-Myth, great book. If you haven't read it, read it. If you're looking to scale and sell a business, definitely.
Yeah. So think about it this way, okay? You have to look, just like with your clients, when you're marketing, you're not marketing what you want, you're marketing what they want, right? When you're going to sell a business, you have to sell a business in a way that they want to buy, not in the way that you want to sell, okay? We work with a lot of private equity and groups that are purchasing businesses regularly, especially trade service businesses. And there's 3 things that they're looking for, okay? Again, we're going to keeping this high level for now. The first thing, they're looking for what's called a business operating system, which is basically, how is the business running? How do they do the same thing every single time? So you listen to Justin, why he created Contractor Plus. It was to eliminate the variability that we as people bring to the table, right? When a job came in, this is what we did. We determined where it was, the type of job, and then we distributed it to the right person. The right person knew exactly what they needed to do with this. Then at the end of the day, this, right? It's processes. Okay, processes and procedures. So that's the first thing, some type of business operating system. We run one specifically for contractors. We call it the Build Pro system. Now, the second thing you're looking for is what's called apparently balloons. What the hell is it with balloons and Zoom?
Have you
and-
seen this one yet?
Oh yeah.
Is it
Give
not
him the
working?
lasers, bro.
It's the same thing.
Anyway, we don't get distracted here with whatever these little add-ons are. Okay, so the second thing is they're looking for a management team. Now you heard Justin discuss a little bit about, holdover or carryover from the owner.
No
but
one's trying to buy a
basically-
job.
Exactly. Nobody wants to buy a job, and they're not going to buy you either, right? So if you're selling your business and it's you and your truck and a few yards that you clean regularly, they're going to pay you for the few yards because they don't care about you and they don't care about your truck. Does that make sense? So you need a management team, a team in place so that the business can run without you. If you're not sure if you have that, go on vacation for 2 weeks without a phone and a laptop or an internet connection, and let's see what happens when you come back. If you're scared of what might happen, then you don't have that management team in place yet. Okay. The third thing, and we kind of talked a little bit about this, is what we call EBITDA, right? Now it's a really fancy word that talks about the money that your business is making end of the day after you've paid all your expenses, right? So you can call this net revenue if you want. That's what they are looking for. So the particular companies that I work with, they want at least $1 million in EBITDA, meaning that after you pay your employees, your materials, your overhead, and everything else, you have $1 million a year left over. That's when when the business becomes attractive to sell. So hopefully that answers your questions, Daniel. Again, if you want to connect offline, let's connect offline. If any of you guys have any questions about actually operating a business at a high level, people, processes, systems, anything inside of that, we are open for conversations. And in fact,
I want to talk about one more thing. I know we're way over time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for hanging out with us for longer than usual, especially on Labor Day. There's one other thing, and I the reason I want to bring it up is because the way we did it, it almost seems like most people would see it as something that's just ridiculous. And when I tell them the story, I don't even know that most people would believe me, but we knew we needed to hire quickly. I posted a job on Craigslist, posted multiple jobs, worded them a little.
Good old Craigslist.
Which is still viable to this day for certain things. Posted the job on Craigslist of what we were looking for and collected applications over one weekend from Friday to Monday and got a couple hundred resumes. And some weren't resumes, some were just emails and people saying they were interested. We set up, and I personally did this, scheduled all of the interviews in a 4-hour block. Brought everyone into our office after hours, had assessments set up on all the workstations, and just cycled them through. And I had everyone take 2 assessments. One was a general skills or general aptitude test. Now, this shows their general reasoning capabilities and critical thinking. How easy are they? Logical? Can they actually find solutions to problems? Or can they think this through without being, without having to pick up the phone and asking for help, phoning a friend? Anyone who scored under 80% on either of the assessments, we didn't even consider. So they had to score above. Everyone we ended up hiring from that hiring event scored above 90% on both assessments. Now, the second assessment was a trade specific general skills assessment. So, and both assessments, I think in total is a couple hundred questions. So kind of tedious, but the guys that were willing to sit down and go through it, of the ones who scored 90% or better on both assessments, we ended up hiring. And but then we looked at what others were paying for those, jobs, and we added a couple dollars an hour to it. And so we paid them just a little bit better than market rate. And, if we pair people in teams of 2 and we factor that a job is, say, 100 hours, then that's 50 hours with 2 people on the job, should be. And we're billing $100 an hour at the time. Now it'd probably be, $1.25, depending on what it is. But, we're paying less than half of that. So on labor alone, we're doing very well. And that, that's the easiest way to look at it. Yeah. Finding good people. I hear this all the time. I can't find good workers. Man, if you can't find good workers, you're doing something wrong, because It's not hard. There's good workers everywhere. Put yourself out there, collect resumes, set up a hiring event, get them to take the assessments and prove their capabilities, and pay them a little bit better than what anyone else is willing to pay them. It's as simple as that.
Beautiful. So well said. And Richard asked the question, where can I get that assessment at? Richard, there's all kinds of different assessments, right? And this is what I'll tell you. So what we teach people to do is to leverage some type of behavior profiling in their hiring process, just like Justin said. Okay. There's a DISC, there's
This is great as
Enneagram,
well.
there's color code, there's Myers-Briggs, there's all kinds of them. The one that we use inside of our business and what we teach and give our clients access to is called the predictive index. Okay. The reason we use that one is because, yes, it gives you a behavior profile, but it also allows us to create job targets and then match those behavior profiles to job targets. I know this is super deep with a lot of you. Don't worry. Most of you, this doesn't apply to yet, but great questions around this stuff. Richard, again, email me if you have more questions specifically about it. We can jump on the phone and have a conversation. But really understand something, regardless of where your business is at today, the easiest thing you can do to grow it is to look at what's working and what's not working. Okay. Double down on what's working and figure out a way to fix the thing that's not working. If for you right now, it's marketing. We talk about marketing almost every week here. Find the thing in marketing that you need to do. One thing, super simple thing. If it's sales, find the one thing in sales. If it's managing projects, find the one thing in projects. If it's contracts, notice everything that I just talked about, Contractor Plus can help you resolve and make your life so much easier. If you're keeping track of leads in your brain and in your email, then good luck. Like, they're just going to fall through the crack. If you're keeping track of leads inside of Contractor Plus, they're not going to fall through the cracks. What about your estimates? You can create templates for estimates so you can burn through them quicker. Imagine being on a job site and being able to give an estimate right there versus having to go back to the office and add that estimate to the 15 other ones you got to do. Right? Huge difference. So we want to make sure that you make your job as easy as possible. Pick the one thing that needs to be worked on and figure out a way to work on it. If you have questions around Contractor Plus, guess what? You can always schedule a call, go through a demo, and ask the specific questions that you have so you can start to leverage it to grow your business.
We're available. Office hours is every day, Monday through Friday, from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. Show up if you have questions. Our team is there and ready to help.
Beautiful. All right. We've been here for a minute. You guys know what time it is, though. It's time for you guys to take this information and get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go.
Thanks, y'all. Happy Labor Day.
Peace out.